loop, loop, loop. Is that how people all feel right now in WCQ North and South American events? It most certainly should be, because windups win both of those events. It is pretty darn impressive, but I think a lot of people are getting a bit tired of being looped over and over again. I am Weevil YouTuber, welcome to today's video. I will be discussing mainly the North American deck list and an analysis of it, but I might also mention the South American guy if he has some unique cards as well. So let's get straight into it, shall we? Okay, so this is the deck. He's got 1 Wind Up Hunter, 2 Wind Up Magician, 3 Rat, 3 Rabbit, 3 Shark, 3 Veiler, 1 Spirit Reaper, 1 Gores, triple Tour Guide and Ensanguin, triple MST and Heavy Storm for the back row hate, 2 Wind Up Factories, 2 Instant Fusion, my new favourite card right now, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Mind Control, 1 Pot of Avarice, 1 Monster Reborn, and 1 Dark Hole. For the traps, these are basically Field Control, double Torrential Tribute, double Bottomless Trap Hole, Solemn Brigade, and Mirror Force. As for the side and the extra deck, it is pretty standard. You've got 2 Max C for the likes of Windups, Chaos Dragons, Dino Rabbit, and on occasion Heraldic Dragons. Snowman Eater for the likes of Dino Rabbit and Chaos Dragons, though more particularly Dino Rabbit. The 1 Kaiku, I would normally side deck him at 2, but 1 is fine. He's good against the likes of Inzectors and Dark Worlds on occasion. Triple Dimensional Fissure, again against Dark Worlds, Inzectors, and Chaos Dragons. 1 Cell Taker, really good against Live Pulsar Dragons, specifically in Chaos Dragons, but also really good against other cards that have timing issues. Triple Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, again, this is just against Inzectors and Dark Worlds specifically. On occasion against Chaos Dragons, though I don't see it too often. The Double Dimensional Prison is, for me, a pretty good generic side deck card. I don't know why people don't side this more often. It's really good against Chaos Dragons, and it's particularly good against Dino Rabbit. It's just really good to just get rid of a card for good, basically, or at least temporarily in the likes of Inzector decks, which can go into Levier quite easily. The only card that I'd be commenting on is Dust Tornado. I can understand if he wants to control the back row a little bit more than usual, but I don't think it's a particularly necessary side. It doesn't directly address any issue in the meta, as I have said in my previous videos. So for me, that's the only side deck card which even remotely stands out as odd. Finally, as for the extra deck, it is pretty standard. You have 3 carriers, 1 Acid Golem, 1 Giga Brilliant, 1 Levier, 1 Zenmaines, 1 Utopia, 1 Leviathan Dragon, Adrius, Terrace, Tempo, Steel Swarm Roach, and the Instant Fusion targets Cybersaurus and Dragoness the Wicked Knight. Okay, there's not really much to say here. The only thing I might say is the triple Veiler is a little bit odd, but as I said in my previous video to the 6 Samurai deck, 3 Veilers is pretty standard right now, and everyone really should be maining 3 Veilers, especially if windups are going to be making a comeback, because if these 2 tournaments have taught us anything, it's that windups are not long and since gone and forgotten. In fact, that's a huge mistake to make about any of the tier 1 decks. If a deck was succeeding at one point, just because it fell off the map doesn't mean it's dead and gone. I'd say the same thing about Inzectors, because people seem to think that Inzectors are dying away. Mega Capital G actually made that point in a similar video, but I disagree with that. I still think they could come back, but they haven't won it yet, so I'm going to forget about them for the moment. Spirit Reaper would be the other card that I think is an interesting tech choice. I'm not disagreeing with it, I'm just commenting on it as an interesting choice. It's also something that I agree with in the current meta. Because, against the likes of Dino Rabbit and Chaos Dragons, it's just so good. Chaos Dragons they don't run back rows, so they're not going to be able to kind of target it. Well, they might have a Forbidden Lance to target it with, but that's 1 less Forbidden Lance you have to worry about in the battle phase, which can be extremely annoying for you. The Gores, again, if you can't loop first turn, he might really be able to help you out. So, you know, it's not a bad choice at all. As for the instant fusions, like, why the hell not? Seriously, it's so easy to loop anyway. Why not just make it even easier? And it's only a 2 cards slotting in thing that he's doing. So, the traps are perfect in my opinion. The only thing wind-up players ever want to do is to control the field. And that's including back row and monsters. Like, they'll even torrential their own Adrius or Terrace or whatever if it means getting to loop next turn, because they don't want you to have any sort of advantage when you're top decking. Chaos Dragons are the best example of this. Yesterday at Locals, I was top decking into BLS, Chaosaurus were Light Pulsar, but the wind-up player was having none of it, basically. The other thing to know about this deck is that it's basically got an out to everything. If they go first and somehow you Veiler at the correct time, you Veiler either their carrier or their tour guide, they're not really going to be worried about it, because if it's tour guide, they'll probably be able to go into instant fusion anyway, and overlay into a rank 3 as it is. And if you Veiler their carrier, yes, that can be pretty annoying, but the likelihood is they still have a bunch of other stuff in their hand because they're plussing off the likes of Factory and other stuff. And let's assume that the other player goes first and they actually get a decent field presence. They might go first turn Future Fusion in a Chaos Dragon deck and get a Red Eyes Dragon Smell and a Live Pulsar on the field. Then the wind-up player can just stall and set a load of annoying back rows such as Torrential and Bottomless, which I might add Chaos Dragon players hate, and generally stall until they get Carrier out and actually loop you and go for game. And that's not even considering the options they have in the rank 5 region, such as Adrius and Tiris. I mean, they could just go into them and stall equally as well, and they don't even need to loop you in that case. But anyway, that is it for the analysis, guys. I could talk about this deck endlessly, to be honest. There's just so many options they have. I'd like to congratulate Tyler Tabman for winning. It is a really good build. I hope to see a lot more builds like it. I'm sure everyone will be net decking off this very, very soon. And what about the ban list? Do you think windups will get in the ban list? I sincerely hope that they do. Put some comments in the comment section below and let me know what your thoughts are on that. Also on the analysis. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe, and hit that like button as always. I have a new series of videos coming up soon called Rules of the Game, in which I discuss particularly technical rulings of individual cards, which people may not be aware of. So yeah, keep watching, guys. See you later.